Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be reviewing Cookie Cutter on the PlayStation 5. So, this is a hand-drawn Metroid Vania set in a violent and post-apocalyptic world and developed by none other than Rogue Games. So, without further ado, let's jump in and see exactly what Cookie Cutter has to offer. So, to begin, we'll start with the story. Now, you play as Cherry, a mechanical being referred to as a Denzel. Cherry's trying to locate the person that created her, as well as discover information about her origins. Now, all of this ties into a mysterious megastructure that's formed, as well as a tyrannous corporation utilising that megastructure's power. Now, there's far more to the story, but I don't want to spoil your experience, so we're going to be very limited with details. You'll have to play the game for yourself to find out more. So, let's take a look at the gameplay. This is a Metroid Vania, which is a 2D platforming action game that features excellent combat. You play the role of Cherry, who has a talking body part called Regina, who acts as your companion. Now I'm going to show you Regina, and you tell me exactly what you think she is. Go on, write it in the comments. I can wait. I'm a gamer, so I clearly have time on my hands. Only joking, but yeah, let's move on. So when the game starts, you'll have access to a kick combo, parry mechanic, dodge roll, as well as the ability to jump. Now I will say the combat is perfect. The dodge roll feels responsive, and the parry window isn't too tight. I initially tried to parry most attacks, but as the game progressed I found myself going with the much safer dodge roll to prevent mistiming it and taking unnecessary damage. When you get enemies to low enough health, you'll be able to brutalise them. Now this lets you finish them off with style in a cooler animation. You have a HP bar, obviously, as well as a void meter. Now the void meter is essentially your special bar, allowing you to use your special abilities, weapons, as well as healing. Now what's pretty cool is Cherry can actually heal herself on command, as long as you have enough void energy. As you play the game, you'll unlock a variety of different weapon types as well as special abilities. Cherry can also be installed with upgrade components that give her additional health, increased void, and increased damage, just to name a few. These components can also be upgraded by certain vendors to further increase their effectiveness. To be able to upgrade your components and weapons, you're of course going to need some currency to be able to do so. In Cookie Cutter, the currency used are bits, which are dropped from enemies as well as being findable in lootable chests. Now you have access to a map which highlights all of the areas that you may have travelled through, as well as highlighting any special items that you may have missed. Your map also indicates the general direction of where you need to go. I mean, how handy is that? There's a variety of levels, and they all have their own unique layout as well as enemy types. Now there are several checkpoints located around each map, so if you die you'll be instantly brought back to the last checkpoint that you interacted with. You don't lose any of your bits upon death, and you'll be restored to max HP and void. Early on, if you find yourself low on both resources, you can intentionally get yourself killed to respawn with both being replenished. Well, not that I did that, of course. You can fast travel around the game world by interacting with Denzel stations. Now these let you travel back to any other Denzel station that you've reached. Denzel stations also let you change your components, so if you find yourself ill-equipped for a certain boss fight, you can easily change your loadout on the fly. Which brings us nicely onto boss fights. Yes, they do exist, and they will present you with a slight challenge. Now they're not overly difficult, and I would say that Rogue Games got the balance just right. All of the bosses have mechanics and patterns that you'll need to learn and adjust to, but there wasn't one boss in the game that left me frustrated. I always felt as though I could make some slight changes to my approach and beat them. You'll also have some arena style battles where you're locked in a room whilst waves of enemies spawn in. To be honest, there's only usually 2 to 3 waves and they aren't difficult, but if you set up wrong you'll find yourself back at a checkpoint with post haste. All of these arena battles present you with a nice gift at the end, wrapped perfectly, just in time for the holidays. I initially wanted to remap my dodge roll to circle, as it just felt natural with the number of hours I've invested into the Soulsborne games. Now you can't remap your inputs, but after a while I did get to the point where L2 felt natural. Hopefully this doesn't translate into my next Elden Ring run, as the last thing I want to be doing is parrying when I'm looking to evade death. And just as a bit of an Easter egg, Cherry's uppercut is a Shoryuken, and yes, we absolutely love that. The most challenging part of the game for me wasn't any of the enemies or bosses. Believe it or not, it was some of the puzzle portions of a level. Now the puzzles I'm more focused on have tight spaces that you need to traverse through to reach a loot chest, while having spikes on the wall which are instant death. Now all of these puzzles are optional, and you can just skip them, but my inner gamer wouldn't let those spicy looking loot chests slide. I apologise to my neighbours if you heard me shouting a proportional amount of obscenities, but yeah, watch out for those spikes ladies and gents, and if you live with family, I suggest equipping them with some earmuffs so you can rage in peace. There were some minor bugs in the game, but just to preface, none of these took away from my enjoyment of the game itself. The first was an audio crackling in the first cutscene. Now I initially thought my headphones were the problem, so I changed them. The issue still persisted after changing to another pair, as well as direct audio from my TV. The crackling only occurred in this cutscene and nowhere else in the game, so I'm unsure if this is an issue on my end, so just let me know if you've experienced this as well. The progress on my map was reset once. So basically, when you load into a map, portions of the map you haven't traversed are darkened. The more you travel, the more of the map opens up and you know where to go, as well as what secrets you still need to obtain. This meant that I had to search every single part of the level again, a minor inconvenience at best, helped by the fact that it only happened the once. There's also a certain NPC that needs to relocate to the main hub so that you can build an item. Now this NPC is currently bugged and doesn't relocate for some people, including myself, so it's worth noting that this item is attached to a trophy or achievement, so hopefully this is patched soon. But just to reiterate, none of these issues hampered my experience. So, with all of that said, it's time to give you my thoughts and conclude this review. Now, I really enjoyed Cookie Cutter, and bravo to Rogue Games. The level designs were all unique, creating a variety of different atmospheres. The writing is quirky, the art style is perfect, and it syncs well with the combat. Cookie Cutter has absolutely nailed combat, which is the core mechanic of the game. The game itself is fun, and as someone who doesn't usually play Metroid Vanias, I wasn't sure what I was going to get, but what I did receive, I'm very happy with. Now, I finished the game with 18 hours on the clock, but I did do a lot of exploring trying to find all of the hidden secrets and chests. I'd like to see a DLC or potentially Cookie Cutter 2. Both would be a day one purchase from me. Now, the game being $11.99, I'm surprised at how much detail and content there is at this price point. I strongly recommend picking up Cookie Cutter, and I give it the Senor Donut stamp of approval. Now, if you like my review, I'd ask that you leave a like. If you have an idea for my next review, then please leave a comment. And if you want to see more content like this, then please make sure to subscribe. I'm Senor Donut, and I want to thank you very much for watching.